The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. These are just our stories. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Not So Harry Potter and the Busters Hockey Podcast. Right off the top, I'm going to thank everybody that has taken their time to come and watch and listen to us. I'm going to start off with the introduction. How would you go first?
My name is Dustin Reardon, also known as Buster.
And I am Mike Potter. And we come from a small town of Stettler, Alberta. And just started thinking we should do a podcast one day. And as we are both big, avid Edmonton Oiler fans, we figured we'd just go for it. So we're just gonna get to it. Talking about hockey news, what do you think about the Klingberg acquisition?
I don't hate it. I'm not a big fan of the cap that he got. I was thinking it was going to be closer to maybe around that $1 million, someplace in around there, or maybe even the league minimum. Just he hasn't played in basically 2 years. I think he played a little bit of the 22-23 season in Toronto, but not much of that season, so basically 2 years that he hasn't played. So overall, I mean, it's a pretty good no-risk signing. I just didn't love the cap hit myself. I thought it would be a little bit lower.
Okay.
With that being said, if he comes in and shows that he can play on that right side on the second line with their owners, 1.7 is a hell of a bargain. So I like the fact that they got him signed early, get a couple games in before the Four Nations, and then a little bit after before the trade deadline. So if it's not working out, they can possibly bury him, or they can still make a trade to get the guy that they think they actually need.
I definitely agree. They could still make a trade in the sense that there were a lot of teams that were in the running for the guy. I do think that's why they ended up getting at the price they got him, because there was somewhat
there was a little bit of
buyer's
competition
market
for
the
sure.
guy. But yeah, as a second line, I think he could play pretty good. I look at his previous numbers and I feel as if he has only to go up, because
his last years weren't super great. His Anaheim year wasn't super great. He was deadly in Dallas. But his time in Anaheim wasn't super great. He got moved out in his 1 year contract that he got from Anaheim. I think he went to Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. And then signed with Toronto the following year. He didn't have a great last year or two maybe, but he definitely has a high ceiling of if he can get back to anything that he was at in Dallas, for sure.
Well, Darren Drieger from TSN said he hasn't played since 2023. Yeah. But he had a good tenure he had an average tenure with Dallas, and then after that, a pretty big drop off.
Yeah.
So I don't know, unless he can be back to that average status.
Which, who knows? I mean, Patrick Kane had this exact same surgery, and he came back and did pretty decent after this surgery. So it's definitely possible. It's it's hips, so you never fully know, but it's definitely possible.
Nope, no, I definitely agree. And moving on from that, what do you think about the game last night? Edmonton, Colorado?
Yeah, I didn't. It was kind of a weird game for me, to be honest. I didn't hate it. I didn't think they played their best. I think they were outplaying Colorado in the early bit, even though they were down. They got down 3-0 there. I think they were outplaying them. I think the shots ended up being like 13-6 or something after the first period. So they definitely had their chances. Blackwood was standing on his head that first period. He made a couple of incredible saves. So I don't think we played terrible. And that's not to say I would put those 3 goals on Stuart Skinner either. Maybe that second one, I think he'd probably want that one back. It just goes over the pad, low glove. The first one was kind of a pulled out from behind the net. It was a 3-on-3 battle, and the Oilers just kind of lost it, and O'Connor just comes out and dangles over, I believe it was Podkolzin and sticks, and he just held onto the puck and made a nice patient play. So, can't blame Stewart on too much on that one, but I think you definitely would like to get a save, but that shows this team's resiliency over the last 2 games in a row now. Colorado and Minnesota, they've come back from a 2-0 deficit and a 3-0 deficit. So the resiliency of this team is much, much better than it has been in the past. And I feel like they can they never feel like they're out of the game. They just keep working and doing what they need to do, and then they get back into the game.
Okay. That first goal, oof. Yeah, no, it's a hard drive to the net. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like there were too many guys on too little of individuals. They left a guy open, and he had that clear lane to drive to the net. Not saying that I could have done better, but Skinner definitely feel like got hung out a little bit there, and that was not his fault. And then Nathan MacKinnon. Oof.
Oh, that dangle on Bouchard was just sick.
Like, when Nathan MacKinnon's playing like Nathan MacKinnon, it's like he was doing McDavid stuff out there. Yeah. So, yeah, he's Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah, no, that was a beautiful goal. That you can't. You could maybe, you'd maybe want Bouchard to maybe play the body a little bit more on that, rather than I think he was kind of caught puck watching a little bit. But overall, like I say, it's Nathan MacKinnon. You can only do so much when he's barreling down on you with that speed and that power that he has. And then, he just makes a beautiful shot, 5-hole through Skinner. And, once again, you could maybe say, oh, Skinner could have maybe had that. But Skinner's been playing pretty damn good, so you don't want to jump on him too bad. And he stepped up in the second period and the third period and didn't let another goal in, so you can't complain too much.
Nope, and what McKinnon did to Bouchard there reminded me of what McDavid did to, I believe it was Riley a couple of years back.
When he threw him back to the left and
caught a puck watching.
Yeah, I think that one on McDavid or with McDavid was much nicer than the one that McKinnon just had on Bouchard, but similar. Yeah, it was a nice dangle. You can't take anything away from that for sure.
So then at the start of the week, NHL player safety fines Adrian Kempe $5,000, the maximum allowable under the CBA for sleuthing David. What do you think?
Yeah, it was the right call. I think I can't remember, was there a penalty on that one?
There was no penalty.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But right call by the NHL. You slow it down and you look at it, and it was 100% just a slew foot. Not much more to say than I think it was the right call.
Okay. And then, what do you think about the chicken wing?
Oh, I think Johansson should win an Oscar for Best Actor.
I think there's a little bit of chicken wing, a little bit of chicken wing,
there was
and a little bit of hot dog and bologna after. Because
to say that there was no chicken wing would be incorrect. But I almost feel like it was more of a natural reaction to. I think he thought he was going to get hit, and he braced his shoulder, and then it clipped him on, like, from what I could see, maybe just barely on the chin and maybe on the nose. And he went down like he got sniped from the rafters. And yeah, I think it was. I'd be embarrassed myself, to be honest. I'd be embarrassed if I was him. And
sniped from the rafters, love it.
But yeah, no, and I think that goes with, the NHL reviewed it and they didn't even think that it was worthy of a fine. So, and you can say, yeah, whatever. They don't want to discipline their stars and stuff. Like, I don't foresee that actually being the case. I just think that they reviewed it and they thought it was nothing.
Yeah, the disciplinary that served in my books.
With that being said, we are obviously quite biased to the Oilers, being Oilers fans, but I don't think it was anything.
Fair. All right, back to Skinner here though. Post up a second shot at the start of the week with 30 saves, and I think that with a career of 152 games, he's got 89 wins, 63 losses. That's a 6 shutout, and he's posted up a 908 save percentage. Is that enough for us to get through the playoffs? I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a whole bunch of faith in Calvin Pickard for playoff games. They play him, sure, but they play him on very light nights, and I don't think he's battle tested.
I don't think Pickard gets, unless like Stu stumbles or something like that, like he did last year. I don't think Pickard is in the net at all for any of the playoff games, and that's actually saying, like, that's not anything against Pickard. I think he's probably, arguably, the best backup in the NHL right now.
I don't know about that.
I think arguably.
Are you talking negating a 1A, 1B type of scenario?
No.
And like you have
he's a clear backup, but one of the best backups in the NHL right now. I think he's 12-4 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. He does. I think he's 7-1 in his last however many. He's doing everything that a backup is supposed to do, which is just give your team a chance to win when you're in that net. And he's doing exactly that. And I think he's doing awesome, but I don't think he sees any playoff time. Unless, like I say, unless Stu stumbles like he kind of did last year against Vancouver, then maybe. But and if that happens, I actually have pretty good confidence and faith that he'll get the job done.
Okay. I'm not trying to pull you apart here, but I'm just going to read you off some of the teams he's won against this year: Utah, San Jose, Anaheim, Seattle, Boston, Chicago, 2 Minnesotas, and there's Montreal in there.
But every backup is going to play those games.
I get that, but when it comes to playoff hockey, you don't have that luxury of just playing the easy ones.
That's fair. But he stepped in last year against Vancouver, who was a great team last year, and sufficed just fine too. So
fair. So I guess that goes back to the original question. Then, you think that 908 is enough to get us deep, or do you think that this defensive addition will be enough to jack that 908 to a higher percentage?
I don't know if I don't know if I would put that on Klingberg yet, that I think he's going to be that big difference maker. He could be. I still feel like they're going to want to do something, especially if he turns out to maybe not be that number 4 that they're really looking for beside Nurse. But a 908, I mean, it's not terrible. It's not, you'd want to see it maybe a little higher, pushing into those double digits a little bit, but It's not terrible.
I feel like every 2 years I go back and forth between the theory that you're going to need 2 solid goaltenders to win the Stanley Cup.
Why though? Like how many times in the last however long has the Stanley Cup champion used 2 goaltenders? Unless one gets hurt. And unless one gets hurt, but I can't remember the last time that there was like a tandem in the playoffs that, even Allmark and Swayman, the best tandem for the past couple of years when they were in Boston, they were barely a tandem in the playoffs. You either got Allmark or you got Swayman.
Mm-hmm. But that say though, that tandem took on a very 60-40 type of role throughout the regular season, which took a lot off of a goaltender's ability to perform deep in the playoffs. And that's what I'm talking about, in the sense like, look at how much games Skinner's playing. And
I don't think he's getting overplayed.
Pardon me?
I don't think he's being overplayed by any means. I think that the coaching staff of the Oilers have a set schedule, and right now it seems to be every roughly third game or on one or the other on the back-to-back from their back end. But I think, and that goes to say with the way Calvin is playing, I think that you don't have to play Skinner too much, and I think he'll be good and ready for the playoffs myself.
Okay, so I'll throw an Oiler what if out at you. If the Oilers would have won the President's Cup last year and the President's Trophy and finished first place in the league, in their division, more importantly, and had that home ice advantage, do you think they would have won the Cup? Do you think things would have went differently?
So basically, if they had home ice advantage in the finals.
Yes.
It's tough to
Do
say.
you think that if Edmonton would have played those first, that's a different barn, it's a different atmosphere. David Thirsty is...
I guess the only thing you can... That's tough. I think the only thing that you can say that they would have really gained was that the one extra game where they would have the better change, right? Like where they would have last change.
I don't think it goes to Game 7 if they had
Really?
an advantage. Oh, no. I don't. In the sense that I honestly think that is, and I mean, this is just a theory, but that is what they're going for this year. I think
they want that now, and especially, I agree that this year I think that they want that, but I truly don't know if it would have had any bearing on, like all things being equal, except for we're switching home ice advantage, from what I can remember, Bobrovsky was just like lights out for those first three games.
Who? Sergei Bobrovsky, yeah, amazing goaltender.
He, especially for, if I'm not mistaken, Game 1 and Game 3, like he was the elite Bobrovsky that we've
come to know.
Yeah. And Game 1 and 3 on the switchover of home ice advantage would have been the Oilers' home ice. So, or no, sorry, I guess 1 would have and 3 wouldn't have been. But I don't know. I don't know if it would have made that big of a difference. I think great teams and Stanley Cup winning teams win on the road, and they gotta. It's a good boost, it's good energy, but if you can't win on the road, you're not in the Stanley Cup final.
Okay. So, Oilers, right now, currently, 4 points out of being tied for the Western Conference, which is, I don't know, that's insane. Pretty good.
Sorry, how many points? 4 points?
4 points back, and that is 4 points back from a Winnipeg Jets, which are, they're insane this year. Whereas, I had the conversation last week with a guy. Whoa, Winnipeg's so good. And I said, yeah, they're always so good, but they're kind of gatekeepers. They don't go deep in the playoffs. Yeah. They use up a lot of whatever the heck they're made out of, and then they fumble at the goal line every single year. Would I want him to go deep? Absolutely. Would I support him? Of course. But they just I just don't feel as if they're a threat to other teams that find themselves in the same position of wanting the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's fair because I mean they haven't went deep into the playoffs. I think last year they had a really good chance going deep, and Connor Hellebuck, who is an elite goaltender, he had a really, really rough playoffs. I think if he would have been the normal Hellebuck that we are used to, I think they would have had a slightly different fate. Would they have gotten maybe past the second round? Who knows? But I think they would have definitely had a little bit of a different fate had Hellebuck not kind of dropped the ball a little bit there in that playoff series.
Hellebuck at his best, Bobrovsky at his best. Those are the types of goaltenders that will absolutely steal you a game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, you might have made a mistake throughout the game as a player or a defense, and then they will steal that game back for you.
Yeah,
so
I would even argue a little bit deeper than that not only can they steal a game, but they, maybe Hellebuck hasn't proven that just yet, but he's that quality that they can actually steal you the whole series.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. Because, if you can't crack that code, which was, Sergei Bobrovsky last year, playoffs, what more can you do? And, what more of a season looks promising than what the Jets have done this year? That's insane.
Man, they came out of the gates just on fire.
And they're still on fire. It's just, they're doing quite well.
They had a little bit of a stumble maybe in that quarter range mark of the season, and then flipped it back around, and they're deadly this year. They're looking really good, really solid. Really good team this year. Plus 54 in differential this year, so they're putting the punch in it, and Hellebuck's having I think, from what I've heard rumblings, as far as he's probably the number one Vezina candidate as of right now. So
whoa. Before we get talking Vezina candidate, let me throw in a little dandy named Levi, I believe. Levi Merilainen.
Oh, Merilainen, yeah.
Levi Merilainen. The kid's insane. Edmonton's rocking really back-to-back wins, and it's just this guy. If Ottawa makes the playoffs, is absolutely the reason.
Yeah,
He posts a 5-0 shutout, he gets a 2-0 nothing shutout, and the guy's just racking up saves, he is just a beast. And since we are a fantasy podcast, I will admit I picked him up today. The guy's just killing it, and they're going to be riding him hot. I don't think they got too many more options than.
No, I think Allmark's out for a while yet. So
yeah,
and was Forsberg their backup prior? Was it?
Yeah.
Was Forsberg?
Yeah, I believe it was Forsberg.
Yeah. And is he hurt now too, or is that when?
I'm not too sure what the status is on.
Or that butchered that name, but.
They went 9-3-1 in December, Ottawa, which is great.
Yep.
And then they lose 4, I believe, out the gate in January. And then this kid steps in, and he's just lights out. I just think that's awesome.
I haven't seen him play yet, but I've obviously been hearing good things about him.
Yeah, no, it's insane. So at the start of the week here, it's a really tight race in the Pacific Division.
It's the end of the week. It's Friday today, but
yeah, no. When I wrote this, it was the start of the week. But going off to the race in the Pacific Division and how absolutely tight it is going to be a battle, I think, for first and second, and you can't say that about every division. There's some pretty bad ones in there. But as it stands, we're going to go through that. We'll start with the Western Pacific. We got Vegas on top with 61 points, and Edmonton tied with that 61 points. LA in third with 55, a little bit of a drop off. And then we got Calgary in 4th with 49 points, Vancouver in 5th with 48 points, Anaheim with 42, Seattle with 41, and San Jose with a demanding 34 points, which is very close to the bottom of the league.
Very bottom of the league, yeah.
But
Just above Chicago, I believe.
yeah, just about Chicago, like 2 points. What do you think? Does Vegas got what it takes this year to contest for that number 1 spot? Do you think that Edmonton kind of has it in the bag?
No, I wouldn't say Vegas. Oh man, Vegas is a good team. Like, I don't think you can ever really count them out to be near the top of this Pacific Division. That being said, I think Edmonton does have the horses and the prerequisites to dethrone them and take over that Pacific Championship for sure.
And LA, do you think they surge because they've been playing well, and then they're gonna get Doughty back?
Yeah, that'll be huge. Getting Doughty back will be really huge. They've got 3 games in hand on us, so they're a little ways back in the points, 61 to 55, but they've got three games in hand. So I mean, if they win all 3 of those, then I mean we're looking at one hell of a race. That puts them at 61 right there as well. So 62 even maybe, but I guess it'd be actually 63. But provided we didn't win out any games or anything like that, they're going to be right there, quite possibly. And unless we leapfrog Vegas, then I would say we're probably looking at another 4th year straight of Edmonton and Los Angeles in the first round.
Well, we see LA on the 5th and the 14th of April, right at the end of the season. So yeah, that's kind of.
With that being said, I think LA is probably their best version this year out of the 4 years. So if we see them again, I think this will be I think we take it, but I think it'll be the hardest outing of the 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And we also see Vegas on the 1st of April as well. I like the continuity of how when a strong player for a team happens to go down, like Doughty for LA, or when McDavid happens to do it with Edmonton, they just kind of surge behind it and play just a whole nother level. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
What do you think about Calgary? Do you think they are a...
I don't think about Calgary.
Okay.
No, they're a surprise. I didn't have them, even really... I had them kind of out of the playoffs, say, in the 5th, 6th spot of the Pacific, but a ways out points-wise. I thought they were going to be better than Anaheim. I thought they were going to be better than San Jose. I thought maybe the Kraken and Flames would maybe flip-flop in and around that 5-6 spot. I thought Vancouver, who's having a real tough last little while here, I thought they would be a little bit better than they've shown the last little bit. They started off pretty strong, but...
I saw Miller and the coach fighting on the last...
Yeah. Apparently things go wrong every time Miller's on the ice, so...
I don't know.
I don't know. Calgary, they're from a hockey fan perspective, they're a good surprise. I think that coach is doing, getting everything that he can. He's out of all of his players. So, is it sustainable? I mean, we're halfway through the year and they've sustained it. So, I'd say they're a surprise for sure.
Yeah, no. Ryan Huska's got that team playing okay enough hockey. I think that Calgary's pretty much right where I project them being for quite a while right now. Like, I don't see them making playoffs. I just think they need to do more. I think they're going to lose Kadri here soon because he doesn't like to lose. And after that happens, like they need to get their ducks in a row. And I'm not even a Calgary hater. I believe that they're the Joker to our Batman. They when they're doing good and they got a big rabbit. Like nothing was better than that Calgary Edmonton in the playoffs. Like that was awesome.
Man, that was awesome. 22, I think.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
so good. And I mean, having that every few years would be just great. That race to the playoffs.
I just love how after we beat them, they just completely dismantled. That's my favorite part about that series.
Yeah, and I'll take that moment once a decade. Yeah, if we completely dismantle them once a decade, fine. You know, I'm not going to agree, but pick yourselves back up.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing right now? I don't know. But moving on from that, we will go to the Western Central Division, where Winnipeg is not only at the top of that, they're at the top of the league with their 65 points. We got Minnesota with 58, Dallas 57. Oh, that's 1 sec backed out there. Dallas with 57, Colorado 55, St. Louis 48, Utah Hockey Club with 43, Nashville.
Oh, Nashville.
Nashville, who is just absolutely blowing my mind with a impressive 37 points this entire season with Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault and Roman Josi and UC Soros.
Forsberg. It makes no sense that they're where they're at, in my mind.
On paper. Okay, start of the season. On paper. Where are they out of 32 teams?
I projected them to be, when I was thinking about it, at least a top 10. Like I thought, they'd be right in that top 10. Like they arguably won the off season, so to speak, with some of their signings that they got. They have one of the better goaltenders in the league. They have one of the very true, bona fide number one elite defensemen in the league, in Josi. I projected them. I thought they were going to do really good things. But sometimes bring new players in, it takes time for, everything to gel properly and them to get used to, especially longer term or players that were in one place for a long time, like a Stamkos. Maybe a little bit less so like Marchessault, but I believe he was in Vegas for, since they came into the league. So 4 or 5 years like that, something like that.
I thought it was 4 years, but don't quote
I think
me
they
on that.
came in 18, didn't they?
No, I thought he was with Vegas for 4 years, but...
he was part of their original draft.
Okay, yep.
So I think they came into the league in 18, so I guess that would actually be 6 years now, 7 years. Jeez, that seems like a long time ago.
Nope, easy.
They are surprising. I did not think that they would be like a bottom feeder team. Not in a million years did I ever think that.
So you say top 10. Put it this way. Washington, Winnipeg, Vegas, Edmonton, Minnesota, Toronto, New Jersey, Dallas, Los Angeles, Carolina. That is our current top 10. And as that is, I would say that before the season, Nashville is better than 8 of those teams. Blowing my mind. But on to Chicago in the last of that, bottom of that division with 31 points. It's enough to snatch the absolute lowest in the league. They are the Chicago Bedards, I believe, at this point. And the guy is just having a very hard time trying to primarily do everything.
Yeah, and I mean, as Oilers fans, I can totally sympathize. I was a fan through the decade of darkness, so I know exactly what they're going through. It doesn't look good, but hopefully they can, if they get another couple of top picks over the next 2 or 3 years, hopefully they can kind of turn it around, and we can start seeing Chicago jump up the standings a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like this competition in our league, and I do feel like they got to step it up. Moving along to the Eastern Metropolitan Division, we got Washington, who, and I have to make a correction, they are technically number 1 in the league right now, not Winnipeg.
Yeah.
But they're both tied with 65 points. Got New Jersey in number 2 with 58 points. Carolina with 55. Columbus, who is a shocking team to me, with 50 points. Philadelphia with 46. Tortorella, I don't know. New York Rangers, I'm a little shocked as to how poor they're doing this year.
They're
45 points.
They're right there with Nashville with me, except whereas I think maybe an excuse is the wrong word, where Nashville has that excuse to, with the players that they brought in. New York didn't do any of that. They stayed pretty, they kept their powder pretty dry. They brought in a few players. I don't follow New York really, really well, so I don't know exactly who they brought in or anything like that. But to my knowledge, I don't think they brought in like a whole crazy bunch of guys, like no big superstar for sure. And, they were top of the league last year. Mm-hmm. And they're just falling apart. I don't think it's ever a good thing for a team when your captain gets traded. I think that fractures some stuff. So, when Trouba went out to Anaheim, I think that was like the beginning of the end, with them saying we're gonna, start retooling. Except if they keep going the way that they are, I don't think they will be retooling. I think they will be full on dismantled and rebuilt.
No, that's I don't know. I don't think a market like New York Rangers ever have that luxury to fully say that we are doing a rebuild.
That's fair.
And then dismantling.
That's
they
fair.
are, I believe.
But I would say Chicago is something similar to that, and they're in a rebuild as well. So.
But Chicago doesn't have that spotlight. I think that, honestly, when it comes down to it, I feel like New York and Toronto, same kettle of fish. And that's why you see them, God, Toronto. All right, let's get this out of the way. I do not like the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they are a terrible hockey team. And their fans are a bunch of... Anyways, whoa, easy. But same kettle of fish. You got so much spotlight on. So at what point do you say, like, we are pulling the plug and we are going to do what's better for this team long term and not focus on next season disappointment? Because, like, look at what they just, like, you can build around Shesterkin, fine. But, like, if you're trading away your captain and you got players getting old, and I don't know.
It's a bit of a tough one. The one thing that they have in their back pocket, like I said, though, is Shesterkin. So I guess with as long as you have Shesterkin, you're probably right. They won't ever need to go into a full rebuild mode. But I just don't see how they can keep going the way that they are going and not be almost forced to some retrospect.
Guy's not a rookie goaltender. He's 29 years old as well. So, I mean...
And just sign.
You can keep pushing, but... Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they're Toronto to me right now. I don't know. But, nonetheless... they're still. I don't know. That's a shock. Metropolitan is a shocking division right now because I didn't foresee Pittsburgh being that low. I didn't see the New York Islanders being that low. Whereas, like,
yeah, that's fair.
I had a stat about the New York Islanders that was absolutely insane.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot too. They have a fairly elite goalie in Sorokin.
And that's where I was going to take it to the fantasy, because fantasy showed me that you got a few losses from the New York Islanders, but not one of those in the recent viewing history have been with Sorokin.
Oh, really?
Every loss has been with the backup goaltender.
Interesting.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like they are a team that would be very much a threat, but they are just not.
Is Varlamov still their backup?
I believe he is.
Yeah, I believe so.
And like Sorokin's, he's ranked 105 in the league, in our fantasy league.
Okay.
And look at this game log. Check it out. Loss, not him. Like, none of these losses are him. Not one of those losses from November 19th. That's a bit what they.
He's good.
Yeah, then they need to
have
figure out a way to get a better relief system for him, because if they did that.
Well, they need some. They've got that goalie. They've got okay defensemen, but they're lacking anybody up front that has that true offensive star power. You know, Barzell is their main guy, and I would say
I think Andersley's a beast.
Yeah, I mean he's good for 30 goals every year, I suppose, like clockwork. But
yes, you're right. Varlamov is the backup, but he is out right now.
Oh, okay.
He is injured. He's only played 10 games this season, 3 wins, 4 losses, which isn't bad. But yeah, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
He's a battle-tested goaltender. But I don't know. Yeah, they're shocking me.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
But yeah, and that rounds out that division. And then, lastly here we have the Eastern Atlantic Division with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Top of that one. Let's see what they do in playoffs with their 58 points currently. And Florida in second with 55. Tampa with 51. Boston picking it back up after a rocky start, but they got 49 points. I can see them making playoffs just because I can see them beating Toronto out of playoffs. So, yeah, I'm for it. Let's go.
Where are they in the wild card spot? Second wild card spot. Okay, right behind Columbus.
Ottawa, I love my Canadian teams. Like I say, they're surging that goalie. Brady Tkachuk is fantasy dynamite. Love him. He's a good player. No ifs, ands, or buts around it. I love watching him play, and if you're an Edmonton Oiler, I love it. So, but they're clocking with 48 points. I wouldn't mind seeing them making playoffs. Montreal tied with that 48 points, and they're playing extremely well as recent as well. Caulfield is he's got skill.
I made a trade last week or maybe the week before. I traded Calgary's Wolf for Caulfield, and it's been working out pretty well for me.
Well, if you're in a league with game winners, he will all around get your points. And then they have multiple. That goaltender's been playing exceptionally well. I feel like that's a team that could make playoffs, not go deep, but make playoffs for sure.
Yeah. If they keep playing the way that they are, they'll be right in the mix for sure. Can't deny it.
Can't deny that. And then we got Detroit with 46, and
also been playing very well as of late.
I think so. Tyler Bertuzzi, he is still available in a couple of my leagues, but I do think that he is a great player. I think that Toronto messed up getting rid of him.
Yeah, letting him walk. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I love seeing and that's just it too. Let's back it up. Toronto, what they get rid of just to keep. It blows my mind. And don't get me wrong. Thank you for Hyman. I appreciate it. Toronto.
Free agent signing in recent memory.
You guys primed him up, just real nice for us, and I appreciate that. And then with Klingberg, I just I'm seeing like a rinse and repeat thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm seeing like with his little stint in Toronto there, like it's going to be another good one for us. And they were trying to re-sign him as well.
Didn't work out so well with Campbell though.
And then in the bottom of the Eastern Atlantic Division, we got Buffalo with 39 points, which, I mean, I don't
feel
know.
sorry for Buffalo anymore. Like they've went so long. Like they started going bad at the same time as like the Oilers started going bad prior to the decade of darkness, and they haven't climbed out of it yet. They had a couple of years that looked like they were maybe on the right track there, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I just don't understand it. Like they have some good young defensemen, you know, Powers and Darlene and Byram, I think, is on that team now, and you know they got some solid good defensemen. They've got, you know, decent forwards. They got, you know, Tag Thompson is, you know, he's all right. There's nothing wrong with him. Who else do they have on that team? I think
their goalie's pretty amazing. That
it can't be amazing. They got 39 points.
no, Luka Kokkonen.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one to say.
But regardless of how I butcher his name, kid's got 14 wins this season. They're playing the shit out of him, I'll say it. But he's got 14 wins, 2 shutouts.
14 wins. How many games played?
Games played thus far, 32. And that's a lot of games played. So
It's like not even 500 though.
no, but they're playing the shit out of him on a terrible team.
True.
Like,
But if he was amazing, he would make that better, I feel.
I feel like if he were to get on a better team, he would have much, like, a goalie like him, say, backing up Stuart Skinner.
Yeah, possible. I don't know. To be fair, I don't know much about him.
Fair. No, like it's, I'm just throwing that out, like it's not, 8, 9, 8, say percentage.
Because they think
Just
they-
shy of 9.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. I'll give you that one.
So he's just down here, got the same percentage as Stuart Skinner.
Yeah. Good point.
But, do you want to go get a cord for your computer? I'll just queue up a few questions. Sure. But we're pulling up to just under an hour. We're going to try to wrap this up at somewhere around an hour. And yeah, try not to take too much more of your guys' time. But yeah, like I say, we appreciate you guys for being here with us. And great to know your feedback and what you think we could be doing better or cover.
Yeah, eventually as we get into this a little bit more, we want to probably try and get into the fantasy stuff a little bit more as well, but
Yep.
a little more than we did today. Excuse me.
What do you think the Oilers need to do to win the Stanley Cup? Because do you think they're there right now? Do you think they have the team to do it right now?
I think they're close. I think they're missing a couple pieces. I think the general consensus is they, now with Klingberg, who knows if he fills that number 4 spot alongside Nurse admirably, then maybe you don't have to go and get somebody like that at the deadline. If he doesn't, I think that's somebody that they're going to be looking for. I still think they're going to want to try and add a little bit of something up front. But it's not going to be easy because, you know, they don't have a lot of cap space, especially if the wild card of Kane possibly coming back before the end of the season, then they really have no cap space. If he is going to pull a Mark Stone or a Kucherov, then that opens up, I think, like $5.25 million. That would go a long ways to addressing all of the needs that we need for sure. But I would say number one is a second pair defenseman. Maybe that's Klingberg, and I think they're going to want somebody in their top six.
Okay. Nope, that's it. So, the NHL Department of Player Safety suspended New York Islanders forward Maxim Tisplakov 3 games for an illegal check to the head of Philly Flyers Brian Poling on Friday.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Taking a look at it right now. Ooh!
Doesn't look good. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, some are worth. That's no McDavid chicken wing. McDavid chicken wing was just violent.
Violent acting.
Yeah, you call it whatever way you want, but it was just something. Got an old Oiler, Ole Jokinen, and he says he wants to be a coach someday. Well, I don't know. I guess anything in my books is better than Tortorella. But I don't mind. I know you like the guy, but it just seems like he can never get a hold of his team. It always comes crashing down.
I think he's starting. Well, maybe not starting is the right word, but I think he's of a different era, obviously, and I think that every year that goes by, that era doesn't connect with the current team and their situations and stuff. So I think his days are numbered. But I love him. I love his interviews. I think he's, sometimes he can be a little bit brash, but I love the fact that he's just a no bull. Tells you exactly how he's thinking, exactly what he's feeling. He doesn't put up with stupid questions. And I think he is a good coach. I think he's maybe a little hard, but from what I've heard out there, like a lot of the times, a lot of the players do actually really like playing for him. So
sounds like he'd make a better assistant coach. Perhaps to Mike Babcock. Moving on, what do you think about the old Bruce bomb winning the game last night?
Nice. Yeah, no, that was a good way to seal it, especially after he got dangled from McKinnon. It was nice to see him put that in and kind of put that behind him and score that goal. It was a nice shot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and Blue Jackets riding a 6-game streak, which to me is just impressive. If they make the playoffs, like that, people won't. I don't think a lot of people understand the market in Columbus when they get a successful team going. Their fans are crazy. So come playoffs, I think they could be a diamond in the rough, some sort of a ringer, if you will. We won't see them coming, but watch out. And I don't know. What that team's been through this year, rest in peace. Who knows? For them to be playing the way they're playing.
And having the year that they are having with the whole Gaudreau situation is it's fantastic. Monahan's having a good year. It's good to see that they're playing well and getting their stuff sorted out after having such a crazy tragedy, for sure.
Yeah, and I understand, when I'm talking about them, there's probably always going to be that asterisk, but it's we're human beings. And they're professionals, whereas, at the end of the day, they're professionals, but they're human beings, so to be able to still put that on the shoulders and play and do everything you're doing and put a smile on, and they are doing the Gaudreau's a justice by playing their artist, and all the props to them. Gonna try to wrap up the conversation in this podcast with Ovechkin, the grade 8, Mr. New Wayne Gretzky himself. What do you think about him being at 179?
I love Ovi. I've always been a big fan of Ovi.
Sorry, what do you think about him? The 179 was him breaking Yager's scoring on different goaltenders.
Record.
What do you think about him possibly breaking Mr. Wayne Gretzky's. Do you think he'll do it? Clearly, I think you do.
Overall, for sure he will. I would have said if he didn't get hurt this year, he would have done it. He would have broken it this year. Now it's going to be really tight. I think he needs another 20 goals or somewhere right in and around that vicinity with half the year left. I mean, if anybody can do it, it's Ovechkin. And he doesn't seem to be slowing down. I mean, he broke his leg, comes back, and still just picks up right where he left off. This guy is a machine. And the disappointing part is if he was actually able to play all of his seasons in full, like his
no lockouts.
Well, he's had very few injuries. Actually.
Well, just the previous one.
But yeah, just this previous one has probably been his worst one. But I mean, he's been through 1.5 lockouts, COVID, all that. He would have already passed it.
2020 goal seasons.
Yeah, I think only Gordie Howe.
Yes.
Is the only other one.
Yeah, no, that's insane. And it used to be back in the days as a kid. Crosby or Ovechkin, and I picked a side, and that was Crosby 100%. But I don't know. I give the man 100% props. He's a hard-fought, battle-tested player. I remember a memory that sticks out for me is when Svechnikov tried to step up to him, and I can't quite remember how it worked out. A little foggy, but yeah.
He basically fed him twice, and Svechky was out.
Oh, so I do remember exactly how that went down. But yeah, no, 25 away from passing Gretzky, I believe, right now.
Is he 25? Okay, I thought he was closer to 20 even. Well, it's 179, and he's got...
179?
Sorry, not 179. That was the record that he just got. Gretzky's 879. And he's got like 894, and he's got 879, I thought, but I could be wrong on that.
Okay, so yeah, he scored a goal on Sunday's 4-2 loss to the Red Wings. I'm not too sure where he's at here.
I just had it up here, I can look.
But nonetheless, for the guy being 39 years old,
yeah.
I am 35 myself, and played a hockey game around January, and second and third shift in, couldn't breathe, legs started clamming up. I wanted to, there was nothing beer around, and that was a terrible strategy for trying to get back my energy that it was what he's doing at 39.
It's pretty remarkable.
I tip my hat to you, sir. Yeah. So, yeah, that is what we've got for the first episode of the Not So Harry Potter and the Busters Hockey Podcast.
Awesome.
We thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
We'd like you to like and follow wherever you listen to podcasts. You can check us out at our website, and that is what was our website again? Confirmation. Just because I don't want to give you the wrong one.
The Harry Buster, I think. Wasn't it?
HarryBusterPodcast.com. Just didn't want to give you a .ca or nothing. But HarryBusterPodcast.com. That has links to our YouTube, to our Patreon. If you feel so inclined to donate, that would be great. And until next time, and we appreciate you for being here. Bye.
Stay well. Bye.